Hi, Joe Stowell here. Welcome to Daily Strength. Have you ever noticed that some verses in the Bible get right down to the point? Well, here's one, James 4:4, where we read, "You adulterous people, don't you know that friendship with the world is hatred toward God, and that anyone who chooses to be a friend of the world becomes an enemy of God?" Well, strong words about an important issue. Have you ever been caught in the middle of a fight? I'll never forget when I was a kid in junior high school. Two of my buddies had a major disagreement and planned to prove their dominant masculinity in a fight at the park after school. Red was a friend from my youth group at church, and Larry was a buddy from my neighborhood. As we walked to the park after school that day, all of Red's friends were following him and cheering him up like you can do it, and all of Larry's friends clustered around him. But I didn't know what to do. Both of them were my friends. So I decided to do the diplomatic thing. First I walked for a bit with Larry, then I slipped over to Red's side of the street. And I'll never forget what Red said to me. He said, "Joe, you're either my friend or Larry's friend. You can't have it both ways. Make up your mind." Ouch. I knew right away that what he had said had a ring of truth to it. And not unlike Red's remark to me, the Apostle James jabs us with a stinging warning. He writes, "Anyone who chooses to be a friend of the world becomes an enemy of God." And I doubt that any of us would want to be on the wrong side of that equation. Yet it's so easy to sidle up to the ways of the world, isn't it? So how can we know whose side we are really on? Thankfully, Paul gives us a clue. In Galatians 5:19 through 21, just before he gives that famous list of the fruits of the Spirit, he lists several examples of how friendship with the world shows up in our actions. Listen to these: sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, the list goes on, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissensions, factions and envy, drunkenness, orgies, and just in case your problem's not there yet, he says, and the like. Well, if you find yourself in that list, you're making a huge statement about whose side you're on. And here's a scary thought. Not only are you a friend of the world, but our text has told us you are an enemy of God when your actions stand in sharp contrast to his will and his ways. Thankfully, Paul doesn't leave us in enemy territory. He goes on to list some examples of what friendship with God would look like. Things like love and joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Just so we wouldn't be confused, Jesus himself made the grounds for friendship with him clear when he said to his disciples in John 15:14, "You are my friends if you do what I command you." Doing his will is what proves our friendship with him, and it is what empowers us to bear much fruit for his glory. So let me ask you this question. Whose side are you really on? Friendship with Jesus is proven when we walk with him in his will and his ways, which means that friendship with Jesus is a choice between him and the ways of this fallen world. So take it from me, from James, from Paul, and from my friend Red. You can't have it both ways. So be sure that you're walking in Jesus' crowd.